Now, the reason I called you today is because of a topic, a very, very crucial topic, and in our generation it's becoming even more evident, especially here in Kenya. Recently, you've seen a few people, after they die, they ask not to be buried but to be cremated. And some of them even don't want any services to be done, memorial, whatever. They just want the morning after I die, please bury me. Not bury me, cremate me. And some questions are being raised. Is this something Christian? Is it African? Is it okay? Is it not okay? Does it matter how you dispose the body of somebody who has died? And then cremation is not the only thing we are learning. There are alternative methods that are coming up of disposing bodies. Remember, like somebody like Wangari Maathai. You remember Wangari Maathai? She was cremated. You remember she was a person who was fighting for trees, maybe. And some people say, she went against her what she had lived for, was to preserve trees. She now used those trees to burn her body. They used those trees to burn her body. There are people who say, you should look for greener options for disposing bodies. Now, let's begin. What is cremation? For the people who need to know what cremation is.
Cremation, in simple terms, is using fire to do away with the remains of a human body after a person has
somebody
died.
Has died, their body is there.
Yes, then
you need to dispose it.
Yes, then you use fire to literally decompose it completely
into ashes.
Burning it up.
Okay. That sounds painful.
Yeah.
But then people don't feel anything.
Yeah. But now you are dead, you can't feel. You don't have feelings anymore. Yeah.
Where did we get this thing from? Because we don't see that in the Bible first and foremost.
Yes.
There are people who are burnt, but this is not the preferred, what we've seen in examples from biblical characters of how people dispose their bodies.
Yeah. I think, you see, first of all, before things to do with life and death, in most cases we understand them from our cultural perspective.
So culture has a lot to say.
Culture has a lot to say.
Biblical Christians,
yeah,
we know there is no communication in that sense.
Yes, we know that there's no communication in that sense. But cremation, I think when it has a very long history. I think I was just reading somewhere that archaeologists found among the Aborigines in Australia that maybe those guys, before those times, they used to cremate people, even what we know from the Eastern people, the Asians, Indians and other people.
So Aborigines could have also been doing those kind of things.
They think that they could also have been doing that. But I think we know it more commonly with the Asians, Indians. And
in our times, the people we see, their religion doing that are the Hindus.
We know that they're the ones promoting it. And for them, they do it with a purpose. It's not just that they
want just to dispose their bodies.
Disposing their bodies. They do it with this purpose.
Okay, let me get it correct also so that we are clear. As Africans, we have our ways of disposing the bodies of our dead.
Yes.
Also for the Hindus and the Indians, in that sense, they also have a way of disposing
their dead.
And unlike the Western civilization, Africans and Indians, for example, there's no separation between spiritual matters and traditions and lifestyle. So that is part of who we are. So it's for an Hindu, there's a spiritual significance of
cremation.
Okay. And did you find out the reason for why they do that?
Their main reason for burning bodies or cremation, they think, I think we all know that the Hindus, the Buddhists believe in reincarnation.
Yeah, so that after they believe that if you die, you'll come back as another animal or another person.
Now, they believe that cremating a dead body is the easiest way of liberating the soul from the body. Yes.
So they're helping the soul escape the body so that it can get into another
So
body.
For them, there's that to to migrate the soul to another
body.
another life somewhere, the easiest way to do it faster is to burn it up. So that's why they cremate their bodies.
Okay. And there are ceremonies around that,
Yes.
even what they do with the ash.
And actually, cremation is not just burning; it's a whole process. It's a whole process.
Not just the party of putting fire to the...
Yes. It's a whole process. For them, there are specific rituals they do
to the body.
Before they burn, after burning, even going to dispose those ashes and going back to the place where they burnt their people, make prayers there, other things. So it's a process.
And it's a spiritual
it's a spiritual
process.
It
doesn't just... You can't remove...
Yes, we can't remove
I think that's the same argument people make between, you see, innocent things that we call, for example, yoga. People think yoga is just a simple exercise. You know, you just stretch empty your mind. But actually, it's a spiritual process that you can't remove the spiritual process and still have yoga. So could that also be the same thing with cremation?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I think for us, what we are doing, we are thinking that that somebody is dead, all is gone. Then so it's a body. Let's go and burn it. Yes, that's what we are thinking.
Okay.
But it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
It's not just the burning.
It's not
That's
just
one of the
burning.
main points.
Yes, it's not just the burning.
But now somebody will say, you know, it doesn't matter actually what to do with the body because the person is dead, and if they made wishes to be cremated, you just honor those wishes. Does Christianity have a say on bodies that have died? I know for the living ones, Christ says he owns these bodies. And he wants us to honor him in these bodies when we are alive. But when we are dead, does the Bible speak anything about that?
I think there's somebody who said that at times when we look at the Bible is as loud as possible to the things that we think it's silent than to the things that we think it has said directly. Yes.
So there are things we think the Bible doesn't comment about,
yes, but
it's
so
very
loud
if
very
you're
loud
able to listen.
when we look at them keenly.
So
I think some of the questions that we ask ourselves, of course, even when the Bible is set up in a Hebrew culture, a Jewish culture, and you see, this is a culture that God chose to communicate His word to the whole of humanity. That's
So
one of the things we need to consider.
for the Jews,
Yes.
God is saying basically,
Yeah.
I have a relationship with this community,
Yes.
and the things I'm telling them to do, the way they live
Yes.
is the way I want the rest of the world to live.
The rest of the world to live. That's what God was doing.
That's
with
why I
the
think
Jewish- yes.
one of the prophets says that there was to be a light to the
Yes,
world.
a light to the world.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when we look at the Bible, we ask ourselves, somebody like Abraham, Sarah had died. Why did he go to a great length to procure a
Buy
burying
land.
place so that he can bury Sarah? Why did Isaac, when he was dying, tell Joseph, when I'm dead,
That's Jacob. Yeah.
Jacob, take my body to our burial place?
So don't leave them here
Yes.
in Egypt.
Yes.
But also
Take them.
that's more like Africans. You
Yes,
know,
more
Africans
like
we want to
African. Yes.
bring back our bodies home.
Yes. Joseph gave instructions concerning his bones when he's dead.
Yeah.
He told them, when
God
that
will
time
visit you.
comes, God will visit you. Take my bones back home. Look at. We can say in the New Testament, when John the Baptist is beheaded, the Bible says
His
the
disciples.
came and took him,
Took his
went
body
and
and then buried.
Stephen, when he was stoned, they took his body,
Buried.
went, buried him. Jesus Christ.
Even Ananias and Sapphira.
Yes. Ananias and Sapphira. Yeah. Look at a good example is Jesus Christ. You see, Jesus Christ, when he's being hanged on a cross, literally, he is somebody who has been cast.
Yeah, cast
And-
as anyone.
Yes, who hangs on a tree. and somebody who is cast in the Jewish culture, what will have happened to Jesus is exactly what happened to somebody like Achan in the scene of Ai in the book of Joshua. That's exactly what will have happened to Jesus. They could have burned him.
So burned the body of Jesus.
Yes, they could have burnt his body. But why did Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus take that trouble to give Jesus a decent burial? Those are the questions that we just ask ourselves,
okay.
but we literally don't have direct answers that we can say.
He said this.
He said this, yes.
Okay.
Because
So-
I'm just wondering, after the resurrection, Jesus will have come to Thomas and told him, "This is my body that was burned."
You could have looked great.
You looked
Ashy.
ash-like person. You see?
So then the Son of God himself, if we were to follow even his example
His
of what he
example,
preferred to be done
yes,
for his body,
yes,
was that
he-
it's buried.
He was buried.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Achan there. So it looks like this burning was for people who are
Literally,
cast.
yes.
It was not something you do for people you respect.
Yes.
The people you honor, you don't
Yes.
burn their bodies.
Literally, in the some of the biblical reasons that people give not to cremate their people, because we know, like in the Old Testament, when you are burned, it shows that you are cast, you are being rejected. Literally in the Old Testament. Then we also see it was a pagan rite of disposing the dead. The Romans used to do that.
Okay.
So the Jews wouldn't do that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's not something that
Yeah.
these chosen people of God
Would
would
have
have done.
Yes.
And if they do it to someone, it's because this person is cast.
Is
They consider him
cast,
cast, and
yeah.
it's a way just to even to make a statement
Oh,
through
yes. Yeah.
that kind of thing
Yeah,
that this person is not
cast. Yeah,
is
not.
out of the people of God.
Yeah.
Okay. And also somebody will say, you know, the people confuse this, saying, you know, when people are buried, they say dust to dust, ash to ash. So they say the dust to dust is burying, and then ash to ash is
It's
cremation.
burning. You see, some people will be surprised when they get to heaven. Do we know that even the wedding vows that we take are not in the Bible?
Yeah, we borrowed them from Britain.
Yes. Yes, there's a scripture that tends to mention something like that, I think in the book of Job or something. Yes. But that scripture was not meant to be burying people.
So it was not something that was being said
Yes,
for burying
for
someone.
burying people. Somebody else.
But it sounds very solemn, you know, when you're saying
Yes,
ash to ash.
It
to
does.
dust.
It does.
But it's not in the Bible.
Yes.
It's not the way, for
Yes.
example, Jesus' body was.
Oh,
They
yes.
didn't say dust to
Yeah.
dust and then. Yeah. Okay, then there's an incident in the Old Testament where the man of God, the most man of God, if there was ever a man of God like that one, Moses, he dies on a mountain. And God does not cremate him. What does he do with him?
He buried him. That's another question we ask ourselves.
Okay. So this
Why-
is God,
Yeah,
and he's the God, he can even make that body disappear.
Yes.
But what does he do?
he buried Moses.
Okay. So that now if we are to look for an example, what God does to dead people is
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
that's what we should do as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if somebody in your family does say that, you know, after I die, please make sure you cremate me, what should people do when they don't agree to that?
What should people do?
They are Christians, but you know, you never know what somebody has written
Oh,
in their
yes,
will
yeah,
until
we
they
never
die. And
know.
then when you're opening the will,
Yeah.
that guy said, make sure that you cremate my body as
Yeah.
soon as possible, whatever they say.
Okay.
As Christians, what should we do?
I think when somebody has written a will, it literally becomes a legal document. And at times, somebody can make such a wish, and the people who are left behind, who are supposed to actualize
Execute.
the will, are Christians, and you feel like, no, this one, as a Christian,
You can't do this.
I can't do it. For me, as a believer, I will not still do it.
You'll not do it.
I'll not still do it.
You don't fear the dead, they'll come back.
No.
Because that's what people say. You know,
Yes,
if you don't follow their wishes,
Yeah.
they'll haunt you or something. They'll come back and tell you.
I think then you are not a true believer, because we know that when you are dead, we don't have the relationship between the dead and the living.
Yeah.
It's cut at the point of death. So you
Shouldn't
can't
be afraid of.
Yes, you shouldn't be
And
afraid of that.
if a voice comes like that in a dream,
Yeah,
that's a demon.
That's
just
a demon.
present-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still honor God above
Yes,
everything. Still.
everything. Yeah.
Because it can be also said, some people will say, if you don't cremate me, then you will not inherit what I've left behind. You'll say no to that and still follow God's will. Okay. And there are people even now, maybe you are thinking of writing that in their will because it's becoming trendy now. What can you tell them?
I think one of the things we are doing with the cremation and the way it's gaining traction, I think, in our society today. I was actually just reading somewhere, and do you know why it's gaining ground? The reason why it's gaining ground, it's because Christianity is also losing ground.
So the influence
That's
for
yes, that's the saddest part.
we've been burying people in a particular way, but there's another influence now that is coming.
That is coming in.
That
And I can give you examples. The article that I was reading, the guy was in the US and Canada in 1970, only 6% of people could be cremated. The dead could be cremated.
and that's mixed populations.
Yes,
it's
mixed
not just
population.
Christians. Yeah.
Yes, 1970. By 2013, it's 40%.
Wow. And that's also at the same time, that's what you're saying.
Yes.
The inverse happened with Christianity.
Yes.
So
And
now Christianity in 1970s was most people were Christians.
Were Christians.
And then now less people are Christians, and
Yes.
that's when you see this one coming up.
Then he gave another illustration. In Europe, cremation is at its lowest rate in countries that have the strongest influence of Catholicism, because Catholics oppose cremation.
So countries like Italy, Spain,
Italy, Ireland, Spain, Poland,
Portugal,
cremation is
very low.
very low. But the countries where the Catholicism is not high or Protestantism is high, cremation is high. And the reason why is because even us, the Protestants, we are not agreeing theologically whether we say yes or no to
Cremation.
So we are living away. So it's gaining ground because Christianity is leaving a vacuum, and something else is taking up that vacuum.
That place, okay.
Yeah.
Now, our people, especially in church, they'll say in their will that they want to be cremated, and then they can even sometimes mention the church that will preside over. What will you do if you are the one mentioned?
If I'm the one mentioned, I think as a church, you see, there are things that we cannot be like dogmatic about them, because we do not have a clear, definite scriptural basis that we can draw a doctrine on how to deal with the dead. We cannot do that. We cannot do that. But as a church, we can adopt a certain position concerning certain issues in life. Like we can adopt a position, let's say, concerning an issue like
even just dedicating babies.
yes, like baby dedication. We can adopt a position as a church and say, yes, there are so many voices out there. They could be right or wrong. We could be right or wrong, but as a church, this is the position that we have adopted.
And that has to be informed
And
with as much of God's revelation as
Yes,
possible.
as
concerning
possible.
That issue.
Yes, that position always, it has to be. Try as much as possible to have a biblical basis, and then we adopt it as a church. Yes, that's the only way out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then that means that for you, then you'll have to, you'll do it or you'll not do it. Let me just put it that way.
For me personally, whether with a position or not a position, I want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you don't feel it, right?
Yes,
From what you've read, what you
yes,
know about God
yes,
and the
what I know
revelation.
about God.
Okay.
Yes.
And a friend, doctor of mine, said, if you do something without faith, then that is sin.
Yeah.
Because you're now going against what you know to
Yes.
be true. And
Yeah.
okay.
My conscience.
It's not want to be clear.
Yes, want to be clear.
Okay. So, and then finally, as we wind up, it's about the story of Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
Mm-hmm.
People in Kenya, cremation is what is becoming fashionable,
Mm.
but in other countries, they are adopting other ways.
Mm.
To a Kenyan, if you ask a common Kenyan on the road, they'll tell you, yeah, Desmond, the ones who know Desmond Tutu will say, yeah, he was cremated.
Mm.
But actually, he wasn't cremated.
Yeah, he wasn't.
The process that they did to his body it's called aquamated,
Mhm.
aquamation.
Mm-hmm.
Aqua is water
Mm.
in Greek. So
Yeah.
your body is reduced to bare minimum so that what is remaining is flushed into the sewage system, and then it's recycled back into the water systems and even into your tap. So that is another alternative, and they say that's a greener alternative to cremation. It doesn't use much fuel. You just put the body in chemicals and water, whatever. I don't remember the name of that chemical. And what remains is just fragments of bones, and then not even DNA is found on that one. If you want, they can make it into ash as well. You go with it home. But basically, at the end of it, you are like water. Everything of you becomes waste. Yenye unaweza flash to kwa system, and then it goes. Any thought about that one?
You see, the reasons that people are giving, and that's why I'm telling you, it is another spirit or something else at greater at work than literally just cremation or burying people. If I'm a scientist, and I can tell you for sure, the best way to dispose a human body is actually to bury. And do you know that you don't need a coffin to bury somebody?
Yeah, that's also something we borrowed. For
Coffins-
example, Africans, we
Yes.
just wrap somebody in something and then
You don't need a coffin. You don't need even a blanket
or a suit,
or a suit.
shoes and belt.
Yes, and
Tie.
no. You don't need any chemical to bury somebody. Yes, you just need a ground, an earth that God has freely given. And that one, I can tell you, you can reduce the carbon footprint by 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good even for the environment.
Yes, it's good
That
for the
system.
environment
Okay.
to bury somebody.
Some people say we don't have land, like people from my land, Kisii. But also it's because also what has happened. In the past, they never used to make concrete graves.
Yes.
Nowadays, they make concrete.
Yeah,
They
that's
made
why we
that-
are complaining.
They've rendered that land
Useless.
Okay.
Just bury somebody in the ground. And I can tell you, after 10 years, you can put another person at the same place. And nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you don't need a coffin, you don't need anything. 100, you can reduce the carbon footprint 100% by burying somebody in the ground.
because even cremation, what you are not told, and maybe people who are fighting for climate issues.
You are burning wood.
Yes.
You're
Fuel
burning
that
wood.
trees you're
Yes.
affecting.
When
the
you're burning
green-
wood, you are releasing carbon in the environment.
into the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Whether it's wood or coal or anything you're burning, you are releasing carbon because we are all made up of carbon.
Yeah.
You're releasing
But we
carbon.
don't hear those kind of arguments because it has favor with the world.
Yes, it has favor with the world. Literally, that's what is happening.
Okay.
And that's why it is another voice behind it.
Okay.
And somebody else, the devil has made something that is taking the place of Christianity. And that's what people are not seeing. That's the problem.
Most of the people I've had actually who want their bodies to be cremated are people mostly who suffer from cancer, and they kind of, the feeling I get personally, I don't know, I can be judgmental about it, I'm presumptuous about that. It's like they want to revenge on their bodies. So they asked, this body has troubled me, I want also equal punished, burn it completely. So there's motive issue even in why we choose one method over another. There's a motive why you want to choose that thing.
And yes, that motive issue is still being informed You see, there's something coming up. Uh, we are calling the New Age movement, although some people are saying we shouldn't even call it a movement. What that thing is doing, they are offering something they call new spirituality or alternative spirituality. And that's what is
Just somebody say I'm not religious, I'm just spiritual.
Yes, I'm just spiritual. When you hear people saying, when you hear somebody saying, although I know some people say it, but they don't know what they are saying literally. We hear somebody saying, Christianity is not a religion, it is a way of life. The alternative spirituality, what they are saying is, spiritual life depends on your inner disposition. It depends on how
Inner light.
Yes, inner light, on how you experience it. But for us, we know, yes, it depends on how we experience it, but it's actually guided by religion. And religion is just systems and some things that we have agreed that this is what informs our life. Yes.
Yeah. So you can't run away from the fact that actually there's church,
Yes.
it's an institution, and it has the backing of Christ who says,
Yes.
this is my bride.
Yes.
And he's the head of that
Yes.
church.
Yeah.
And then when you come up with an alternative thing, and then that's what somebody is saying, you know, we want things like, for example, a fireless cooker, wireless communication. So we even have godless religion.
Yeah.
And that's new age.
That's exactly what they are doing. We have a godless religion. And so even life, life to them it is how you experience it.
Oh, so it's individual centered.
It's
You're
individual
the one who
centered.
decides what
Yes.
is true for you, what is
Yes.
good for you.
Yeah.
You are basically your God.
Yes, you are
That's
basically your God.
That's idolatry.
Yeah.
Okay, so in conclusion concerning this matter, I think for me, what I can say, how you want your body to be disposed when you die does speak of your understanding of what you think about the afterlife.
Yes, that's true.
If I'm somebody who believes that these bodies will be resurrected and Christ is coming back for them, this is a gift from God, I'll even want, he has not expressly said what should be done to my body, but I would want my body to be done for what was done to his.
Yeah.
That it's silent, but by example is not also silent.
Yeah.
I can follow his example concerning issues
that's
like
true.
that one.
Yeah.
So when the world comes up with the other methods, and this is a new revelation, and some excuses will be given, finally you'll come to the point where the person wanting to be cremated is the one to, if he's a true believer, just ask the Lord what he would want you to do with your body. He's not silent. Actually, he'll guide you. He'll tell you what is the right thing to be done.
Yeah, that's true.
And still, if you are not sure, just follow the examples of biblical characters who are men of great faith and people we are told actually you should live part. For example, Father Abraham, our father in the faith, should also be our father in even things that we don't have clarity on how to do them. Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. I know people ask questions like, now what do you do, like now the people who perished in the Ethiopian Airlines,
where nothing remained.
Yeah, where nothing remained. What do you do with the people who are burned up in the houses and nothing remains? So do you do that? I think one of the things that and it's a gift actually that God gave it to us, is not to know how and when we will die.
Yes.
That's a gift that God literally gave to each one of us, that none of us actually knows how and when they will die. That's, we don't know.
It's good that we don't know.
And it's good that we don't know. It's good that way. But it does not mean that we also doubt God on how we will die. We have not been given that chance to doubt God. That what if I say that I want to be buried and then I get burned? We don't have that chance to doubt God. Yes. And it's literally like we are doubting him, that is he able to deal with, if I'm burned, to deal with my body? When
can he bring it back?
Can he bring everything?
That's a God
back?
problem.
Yeah, that's a God problem, not ours.
Yes. And you cannot make the exception
Yeah.
the rule.
Yeah.
Those are exceptions.
Yes, those are exceptions.
Yeah.
And
Can't make them now.
God himself knows how to deal with
Yeah.
them. Yeah. We
Okay.
just allow God to have.
Good. Sawa. I think that is all for today. Thank you for your time,
Asante.
and see you next time. And we are grateful for your taking time to watch this, and may you be blessed. God be with you till next time.
Amen.
Goodbye.
Thank you.